Hi, my name is Charles Evelyn, and this is my presentation on the form processing assignment. This assignment encompasses the ability of a new user to enter the Big Firm website, create an account, complete with username, password, and submit an avatar image for that website. The input fields are then sent to the server for processing, which in turn submits the fields and the avatar back to the browser so the user can see. The password is also returned with the hash and the salt applied to it. So, um, starting with the initial visit to the Big Firm website, uh, what the user does is when the user first gets here, they're introduced with a contact form. So they fill out their information here, and complete a password. And once they're select their password, then they're chosen, or they have a choice of choosing an file to upload for the avatar image. So they choose a file. Once they selected a file, they can either upload the picture or then hit the sign up button. And what they get is feedback from the other page um, on the information that they submitted, the username, the password that is currently hashed, success message that their image was loaded, and the image itself that they uploaded back to the server. So what we're going to do from here is take a look behind the scenes and see what's going on and how that was done. So this is the index.html page, which is the big firm's website with the information on it. What we're looking to pay attention to here is the form itself. It is a one of the three things you will notice. The form has the ENC type data for multi-part form data for form processing. The file name that go correction. The action attribute that goes to the file, the PHP file that will be processing their data once submitted, and of course the post data to submit that form. Um, the first field set pretty much has regular form type inputs. The name of they're either text fields or there's a password field. The second field set where the avatar is, one thing I want to take your attention to is the user file. Correct. The type of the input is a file type, and of course a submit type for the index. And those are the values here to for the upload picture button and the sign up button, respectively. So moving on to the new user PHP, which is the file that we're going to use to process all the user interaction. There's two functions here, one called contact info. This particular function does three things. First of all, it creates a salt using MD5 and empty rand. Salt is preceded with a format string, and the complete salt has the format and the string attached to it. This is the user array that's created to capture the information from the user's field on the form. Of course, it's first name, last name, username, and the password. And here is the crypt that creates the hash and the salt for the password. And then we're going through and creating a for loop for each item in the user input array and echoing out each item. And what that gives us are these four variables here. This is what the user put in. They're captured here They're returned as a user input, as that function, as that array, that associative array, and then we're using it to call it here, and what we're doing is iterating through each one to display it here. The next function is what I call the avatar save function. This function actually creates and captures the image that the user inputs, submits for their avatar. First line here creates the directory or names the directory that the images could be saved in, followed by basically an if statement saying that if the file was moved and in the right place, create a success message if the file was uploaded, and if there was a problem with the file or it did not get loaded properly, submit a fail message to the user. And then there's a variable here that creates the image tag to show the image as it's returning, and this is the function call for that image. So one of the things that I learned during this assignment is that functions do not necessarily need to have variables or arguments. Functions do not necessarily need to have arguments contained within them. That's one of the things I was doing, thinking that they needed an argument in here, and with the help of Mr. OT, I realized that I didn't need one. Second thing I realized is that depending on the situation that the developer is being faced with, variables, what can I say, that when you create a function, especially using the super global variable, you don't need to call it as well. And one of the things you can do is use them in a loop here. Well, you can use them in an array here, and when you're using them, call them differently. We don't going back to the argument issue that I was having earlier. Don't need to have an argument. You can put that there, but since you're going to create an array and iterate through that and pull certain data out, you don't need to use that as an argument to your function. I definitely need more practice on loops, functions, and arrays, and understanding the difference between the time you would use a for loop, a for each loop, or a while loop. And more so, I understand the significance for them, but the logic behind determining which one is over the other, or which one is better suited over the other. So I guess with more time and more practice, I'll get that done. So until then, I'll just keep on practicing and doing what I can. Thank you very much for your time, and have a great day.